Hi, I'm Jim Blair with Bee Cave Drilling. Today I want to talk to you about your pressure switch. Here in Texas, we have a lot of problems with fire ants getting in here and causing all kinds of problems. I want to show you how to clean them out and prevent them from getting back in there. This is an FSG pressure switch. Now before you open this up, let's make sure and cut off all the electrical power to your well equipment. We certainly don't want you to get shocked. To open this lid, just unscrew this little nut here on top and just lift the lid straight off. Now in here you're going to see 4 electrical terminals, and usually you're going to have 4 wires, sometimes only 2 wires depending on your setup. And right here you see these little copper colored things? Those are called points. When ants get down in there, those close on there when the water pressure gets low and their little body gets in the way, and that prevents electricity from flowing to your pump. So we got to get that cleaned out. The way I like to do that is with a can of air. You can just blow all those out of there. Now sometimes you need to open it up when you blow it to make sure and get them out of there. Then you can just turn your power back on and see if it works. Now if it doesn't work, you may still have ants down in there, and you're going to have to get a little bit more forceful with how you clean that out. And I like to use a piece of sandpaper. Get you a fine grit sandpaper, fold it in half where it's rough on both sides, open up those points, and slide that down in there between those points and let those points close up against it. And then just work that up and down 3 or 4 times. And that is all you need to do to clean out that terminal. Now make sure you do that on every one of these that has a wire. If you can't find any sandpaper, go get your wife's emery board. You're going to have to cut it up a little bit, but you can use that instead of the sandpaper. Now one thing I want to point out is that these points are actually covered in a thin layer of copper, and that copper does a better job of conducting electricity. Once you sand it, you're removing that copper, and those points are not going to last as long as if you had left it. So if you can clean it with air, let's do that first. This is a GSG pressure switch. It's got bigger terminals in there, and it's used mainly on our commercial applications. Now before you open this up, once again make sure you turn the power off. But open that up, and you're going to see in here your points are a little harder to get to. So you're going to have to get a little bit more creative. I like to use a bigger piece of sandpaper in here. Let that down in there. And you might have to work that a little bit back and forth just to get those cleaned off. Once again, once you get that done, blow them clean, turn your power back on, and it should run. So if you want to keep the ants out, you can take a mothball and tuck it in right here underneath these wires. Make sure you don't put it on this side right here where you have all the moving parts. But what we like to use is JS685. It's an electrical insecticide, meaning that it'll kill all the ants and keep them out of there for at least a year, but it does not conduct electricity. So make sure that when you spray it, you don't have these points open, because that's going to prevent electricity from flowing. And if you do that, then you're going to have to go back to sanding your points. So just take this with the points closed and spray it. You're going to see a little white film develop in there, and that's the chemical that's left that's going to keep them out of there for about a year. You can also use this on all of your other electrical components. And that's really all there is to it. Just remember, clean them out and keep them out. And thank you for letting us be your well man.